So I really should be trying to push north. Hey, Ovdal Kanzad finally finished. After some definite setbacks. So Ovdal Kanzad is... What level are you? There we are. Level 8 Deep Hold. Dev cost minus 1,150. Goods produced plus 2. Construction time plus 30. Tax modifier plus 70. State maintenance plus 80. Defensiveness plus 40. Minimum autonomy plus 30. Dev needed to reach the next level 110. So. I can't turn that off. Fine. So we need to get to 110. This is actually going to be relatively expensive, so we're going to go with the military mostly. No, you know what? I should do these first, because they're going to be the cheaper ones. Yeah, that price is rising rapidly. Should have started with these two, and then done that one last. Never mind. Dwarven Majority, Old Hold, Uthrun Forge, Advanced Hold Infrastructure, Magma Forge, Wonder, Market Town. Market Town? You got degraded. Was that from the bankruptcy? Yeah, I think this place has been pretty much in consistent construction since then. Okay, interesting. Diggable rock. Oh, that was increasing dev cost for the next 3 years. Oh well. You're a deep hold. Representation in the assembly. You are subterranean. Yeah. Ovdal Kanzad's become a pretty good place. 22.2 production. This has changed. Because it doesn't say goods produced anymore. Oh. Oh! That's what that was. Two things I've learned this stream. 2,200 hours. Two things in one stream. Yeah, so trade value is 121, goods produced 27. That's what I was looking at. But the other half of the army stack. No, these little stacks are purposefully just being thrown around, basically as anti-unrest units. And then I've just got my 4 core stacks of 40k each. That's fine. I don't think I really need more, even though I'm pretty far under my force limit still. I could make a 5th stack, to be fair. We do now have another general. I'm generally trying to keep as many stacks as I have generals. What are we up against here? We still outnumber them. Like, all of this, we still outnumber them. 121. Oh, though only just. 4,000 difference there, 15,000 in that, and 10 difference there. No, they outnumber me by 1,500 men. And yes, I can bump up the capital fort. That's a good point. There are a couple of things here which we definitely need to get building. And the fort's the big one. Thank you. Good point. Good point, well made. Jikaraz is done, which was against Sikdir. But these guys are the coalition armies. I don't think there's any real point going after those, because they're just going to throw themselves at my walls completely uselessly. So it's Ovland is Kukdir, Der Vazatun that I need to take out. In fact, Der Vazatun would be the big one, because that's these guys. Let's just go and sit on their capital again. Via the road. Better. Sardassi declared war on the command, citing imperialism. as their reason. The age of the Witch Kings is ending soon. But I just got my Witch King. I still have the New World Charters. I keep on forgetting to actually revoke that. Revoke that. I don't think I need the free company rosters anymore either. That's reducing my absolutism. And I want more absolutism so I can fire more guns more better. There we go. Absolutism is now 52. Let's build that up. Starting to strip powers away from the old estates. How did you get in? Oh, probably down there. That's a little irritating. In that case, you should have been guarding here. Then you could have moved across. That's all right. I can intercept you. And you go there, and then you should basically just be able to sit there until we're ready to go after Ovdal. And this is what I meant by trapping them. Gotcha. Okay, so Cook Deer. 109 discipline versus my 111. 5.3 morale to my 6.9. We have more tactics. They have a really badly set up army. Like, clearly they like cannon, but let you into a little secret. You gotta protect the cannon too. Otherwise, they're a bit rubbish. I mean, they're not a bit rubbish. They're still freaking amazing. Especially if they're Kanzadi, which yours aren't. Looks like someone wants out. Hull Yorkad wants military access. No. Now, how's this war going to be? The commander's 110,000 with 124,000 manpower. You have 205. So Sardassi does have the bigger army right now, but they don't have the depth to actually replace their losses. And I would imagine that the command's armies, pound for pound, are just better. Tax, tolerance, Republican tradition, construction cost, infantry combat, tech cost, siege. Goods produced efficiency. Yeah, see, the commander's got loads and loads of military stuff, whereas Sardassi doesn't. They do have offensive and defensive, though, which will help. Oh, and the commander just doesn't have many ideas. Like, at all. But they have finally finished their tree. No, they haven't. Actually. Infantry combat, unjustified demands, core creation, discipline, army drill gain, monthly exhaustion, war exhaustion, spy detection. Spy detection! That's why they kept on catching me. Force limits, general cost reduction, and then leaders without upkeep. Yeah, their ideas are pretty good for the military. Oh no. Stack wipe. Harpies are fleeing the country. Goodbye. Where's the colonization going? We're still above 20% on each of those, so they can stay there for a little bit longer. There are some pretty major armies coming through here. Ovdal seems to have done a massive bypass. That's okay. We'll come in this way and stop you. Now this is going to count as road, so it's a -1. This is the best land that we'll find for this fight. Amaldir is done. You may as well go up there. We're trying to get them out of the fight. Battle is joined. 40,000 against 40,000. 111 against 115. So their discipline is better, but man, their morale is terrible compared to mine.
Raiding party!
And they just take a lot of damage. Shenrir! Hello, Shenrir. How are you doing? How are your viewers doing? What's going on here then? Well, this is currently some dwarf and dwarf action, if you're into such things. The mighty Ovdal Kanzad, the cannon dwarves, are slowly but surely spreading through the mountains, basically trying to coerce the other Dwarven Holds into joining the mighty Dwarven Empire under our benevolent leadership, of course. And as soon as we get them to join us, we will teach them all how to make amazing cannons. But to do that, they need to willingly join the Empire. So right now, we are just blowing up their walls until they do. So how was your stream? What were you playing? Hope you're doing well. Yana, thank you very much for the follow. Rokor, thank you very much for the follow. So, if you are new here, my name is Mordred Viking. I play lots of strategy games, much similar like Shenrir does. This is Anbennar. This is a fantasy mod for Europa Universalis IV. So, it basically turns EU4 into a strategy D&D game. So, we are playing as the Dwarves, but you can also play as gnomes, halflings, humans, elves, gnolls, kobolds, ogres, centaurs, orcs, goblins, hobgoblins, and loads of other races beside harpies. And yeah, there is a lot going on. It is currently 1700, so we are very much into the late game at the moment. We have our first wizard on the throne, actually, and this game does have like a magic system that you can access through decisions. We haven't done very much on that yet because dwarves and magic. D&D and my EU4, tell me more. Yeah, this is a really complete mod. Many of the nations in the game have complete idea groups. There are mechanics for like populations and then moving populations. So for example, you can get minority groups, majority groups. You can choose how much you want to integrate other races into your nation or not. You can just purge them all like we're kind of doing. The beginning of the game is really interesting because most of the world kind of looks like this. It's just empty with a couple of little coloured blobs. And those basically expand outwards, take all the land around them, so you have a far more dynamic game, at least playing as the dwarves. The big part of the early game for the dwarves is like scrambling for a position, because there was this big event called the Greentide, where all the orcs and the goblins rose up, finished off the majority of the Dwarven Empire, and then surged out into the human lands over here, wiping out a very large kingdom that was based in this area. Then if you're in this area, you're basically playing as an adventure group who try to establish their own setting, their own hold, their own nation. Or you can play as the dwarves, basically retaking the mountains from the remnants of the orc and the goblin hordes. And then after that, you're starting to find the other remnant dwarf holds and scrambling for position. And then as you emerge from the mountains, you start to discover the other races and seeing what's happening in the world. Meanwhile, the elves blew themselves up. This rather strange circle here is basically a magical nuke, and you can see that there is mostly just water in the center. This big circle is actually the crater of the giant elf explosion. So, as always, all the world's problems can be ascribed to the elves. They blew themselves up, they made all of this area completely uninhabitable, and then took to the seas for 1,000 years, eventually settling alongside the humans in the human area, which is this bit, which is the titular Anbennar. There is the Anbennar Empire there. It uses the same HRE mechanics, and this is a lot more settled. This is where a lot of things happens. This is basically Europe. But eventually, the elven homelands are rediscovered, and you can start to settle and colonize that stuff again. So these are all the various colonies and other adventure groups, which work semi-independently to the colonization system. This is just such a complete mod. This is really, really cool, and I can't wait to explore more of it. Like a lot of the story I've told you so far, very much from the Dwarven perspective, because that's what I've played as, that's what I've seen. And I wanted to play through to see if I could take the full Dwarven Empire back again. You will notice that the Dwarves have these weird, like, rectangular provinces, and then also a couple of these square provinces. The rectangles are dwarf roads, so it's the remnants of the old dwarf tunnels, and you can build a railway down here eventually. And then the caverns are the natural caverns which spring off the sides of the roads. And all of this is underground. These are the mountains. And then eventually you can go outside into like the regular shaped provinces as well. And then you have the Dwarf Holds, and these are incredibly powerful provinces where you can basically dig down. And the further down you dig, the cheaper your development gets. So, for example, we have our capital over here, Ovdal Kanzon, development of 102. It only costs us 89 development per point to build more. And you can keep on deciding just how deeply you want to dig. And that's a very dwarven thing. And I will say no more on that subject. So yeah, we have just hit the Age of Enlightenment. We are in the process of starting to get some institution spread. Most of the Dwarven roads are pretty well developed and have really good spread, so we're just kind of letting those spread the ideas around. It'll probably take another 10 years or so before we get that. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Private contractors. Due to the lack of permanent structures, many armies rely on private contractors to provide everything from equipment to entire regiments. Usually, these entrepreneurs receive a sum in advance they can use to procure what the army needs on short notice. This often works well to meet the swiftly changing needs of our troops during campaigns, but there are those who would take advantage of this system. As our armies in Segdir advance deeper into the enemy territory, there are increasing reports of corruption and unwarranted cooperation between our logistical officers and local entrepreneurs. So we can root out the rot, or we can gain some corruption. I am tremendously wealthy. In fact, we've actually lost about 120 ducats of income since these wars. But so it goes. We also need to have another seat in the assembly. Did you get developed? Yes. You were going to become a seat, except you can't because you're still being cored. Damn it. Alright, so I'm going to need to go to my development list. Then I'm going to need to sort you by development amount. Then I'm going to need to scroll down. So we have a parliamentary system, and I'm needing to remember how many of these provinces we've actually given to the parliament. This was Rajanrod, which is apparently one of these. It's you. Are you an assembly? You're not. Welcome to the assembly. And we are still coring. Those are still ticking along. We are still converting away from the Runefather to the ancestors. The Dwarven ancestors, of course. Alright. And then we are currently in a giant war. It's actually our first coalition war against Krakdumvor, which is one of the Dwarven Holds. They start in the far north and have been less impacted by the Orcs and Goblins. We're up against Krugdir, which is one of the other Dwarf Holds. We're up against Ovdal Ludum, which is another Dwarf Hold, against Verko Kanzad, which is a Dwarf Hold, against Darvazatun, which is a Dwarf Hold, Segdir, which is a Dwarf Hold, but we've already kicked him out the mountains, and I think that's all we're doing. Then Verko Gulan is also an unwilling outdoor dwarf, same as Segdir is an unwilling outdoor dwarf. Both of these we actually guarantee when we're not at war with them, because I don't want them to lose. Like, they're still my kin. It's just that they refuse to bend the knee. So I made them. We're currently trying to beat up on Hull Yorkad. We're going to turn them into the forest dwarves, because there is a big forest right here, and they actually own a tiny little corner of it, which is outdoors and it's not in the mountain, so I don't care about it. But right now we're fighting against them and these guys to try and take their mountains and their holds, because I need to take their holds in order to re-establish the Empire. Or to establish the Empire. You back off a little bit, because we're going to be needing to fight them. And we've got another 40k stack moving in to help us. Oh, right, yes, I'm also paying 120 ducats a month to root out the corruption. That would explain why my money is suddenly gone. We are very wealthy, though. Did I mention we're really wealthy? Because we're really wealthy. If Ovdal means hold, what does Verkal mean? Verkal is... not sure. I think Verkal is just another name for hold. Because you've got Verkal Gulan, you've got Verkal... oh no, that's Ovdal. Shaztunda isn't a Verkal. Where's the other Verkal? Could have sworn there was one. Deer, I think, is also a hold, because there are a couple of places that have deer. Yeah, there are several Verkals, but I can't find where they are. Seg Deer is a hold. Verkal Gulan is one. Ovdal is definitely hold, because Ovdal Kanzad literally means the hold of the cannon. We are the cannon dwarves, and we have massive bonuses to our cannon shootiness. So most fights we win just because we have a 50-50 split infantry cannon. We don't know what cavalry are. I mean, we do, but who would want to be seen dead using cavalry? Ugh. Yeah, that's an elven thing. There's only one thing you do to elves, you purge them. Okay, it looks like you're going to get intercepted, so that's fine. Crushing, crushing, crushing! Stack wipe? No, not quite. Close, though. Oh, this was Olivland. Okay, so these are the far, far, far north guys. Humans, I think. Actually, what race are you? Yeah, Eastdale. They're humans. So, we just fought the Vikings. We just beat the Vikings with cannon. And Vazutun is on low enthusiasm. Vazutun we can't take anything from because we have no adjacencies to them. So you, I just want to kick out of this war. And then you can come back home. And then next up, we do need to take out Krakdumvor. And I need to check something. 109. I think Krakdumvor is actually bigger than our hold. 102. It is. That is not acceptable. So I give you permission to go and burn it down, even though it's actually kind of a point of pride that they've done as well as they have. I really don't want to have to hurt these guys. But I'm going to have to in order to win this war. Although they're down to a 7. If I can get them to peace out soon, then that would be great. Olivland is a bit too far away to do that naturally, and then Krugdir is going to be the one that I really need to take out. You go and hold that. And then this army go and take their capital, which seems to be the only hold they actually have. Good. Meanwhile, where do we get to? Roast Shinoda, Simply Sammy, Sipiluma, Temporary Fool, and Online Deckbed, thank you very much for the follows. Then Audio FA, thank you very much for the 15-month resubscription. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Dwarves are just good business. Dwarves are very good business. Verkal might mean gate. Ah, yeah, you're right, because the gold dwarves do have a giant gate at the entrance of their base. That's what this thing is. So Verkal Gulan would make sense. Do we need the caves of the Northern Dwarves? I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Because historically they were not part of the Dwarven Empire. All of the exiles and prisoners from the Dwarven Empire went to this. This is basically Dwarven Australia. Ah, good. These guys have almost arrived. Marvellous. You can stop them coming further south and being generally more annoying. Though actually you can come and kill them before they retake all of this. Alright, so your job is going to be autonomous rebel suppression here, 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 and here. Except here we go. 28% success chance already. Krakdumvor is on low, and I didn't need to take the hold. That does make me happy. They're like, no, please don't ruin this. Please don't ruin this. Please don't ruin this. Okay, I won't. Krakdumvor is out of the war. So, Olavlund, Krugdir, and Ovdal Ludum are the only ones left. And I can't piece these two out separately because they are coalition members. Deer is probably for surface holds. Maybe. Yes, I think you might be right. Actually. Because that's also a surface. Yeah, you might well be right with that. It's hold the Old Dwarven capital and X number of holds. We need to hold 25. We're currently on 16, I think. 14. And we have to own them. And core them. And we do also need Amaldir, which is the capital, which is this one. Which is not a surface hold. That's a regular hold. So no, Deer is not a surface. Growth of the business of jewellery. Our efforts to maximise trading profits in the area of Dwarvarod 66-68 has borne fruit in the province of Poet. CRG Rod. Entrepreneurs have managed to greatly increase the output of jewellery and have found new markets in the capital for processed goods. That's awesome because Poet produces gold. Nice. Alright, seriously, are we just going to let this guy walk past? Because that seems silly. And that guy started to siege us. Yeah, you're going to take a while to get back down here. You're about to take the capital, that's good. I think we might well need a fifth 40k stack. And let's see, you still... Oh, you can recruit troops outside a building. I did not think you could. Well, that's my bad. Olavlund and Ovdal Ludlum. I mean, all of Ovdal Ludlum's army seem to be here in the north, so I can't imagine there's very much defending this. It's just that they're the war leader. So I don't want to take them out too soon. Because I want to take stuff from these guys too. These two in particular. And then I'll have the adjacency. Oh, if I take that, then I have the adjacency to Amaldir. Need to take out Verko Hulyorkad to get there. And if we can get by Rail Skulker, that would be another nice boon. Okay, that's their capital taken. I'm going to split these into 40k stacks. I'm just going to start blanket sieging this.